The racing action started with the street stock race. Off the start, it was the 38 of Brian Hutchinson leading off the field. The main battle would be for the second place spot between David Wood in the 24 and the 31 of Dwayne Wessenberg. Dwayne Wessenberg would eventually catch the back bumper of David Wood, doing all he could. Then on one lap, he went all or nothing in turn number 1. He made contact, went a little bit into the grass, and almost lost it but saved it, and almost lost it again but saved it, and that allowed Charles Davis in the number 6 to make a move and move up into the third place spot. But Dwayne Wessenberg wasn't going to give it up. Then Charles Davis went way high, and Dwayne Wessenberg saw an opportunity to get to third. Then Charles Davis spun out, causing the first caution. We went back green flag racing with David Wood and Brian Hutchinson battling side by side for the lead. Then as they entered turn number 3, as they battled it out, there was contact made, and around goes the 24 of David Wood, bringing out the next caution. We went back green flag racing. This time, Dwayne Wessenberg and Brian Hutchinson were battling for the lead. Eventually, Dwayne Wessenberg would get the upper hand. Then Brian Hutchinson had his hands full with the number 6 of Charles Davis battling him for the second place spot. David Wood would then go to the outside to try to get the third place spot, but Charles Davis was not going to give it up so easily. As they battled side by side heading into turn number 1, Charles Davis would be able to get the advantage entering the back straightaway, and he would hang on to the third place spot. Then he was going to run down the 38 of Brian Hutchinson. Then in the last lap, Charles Davis went to the inside of Brian Hutchinson for the second place spot. And watch this finish. As they come off turn number 4, David Wood sneaks by Brian Hutchinson and takes third as Dwayne Wessenberg takes the checkered flag. What a race! The next race would be the modified mini race. Off the start, it was the 25 of Kyle Moore and the 82 of Heath Williams leading off the field. They battled side by side for a little bit, but eventually Heath Williams got the advantage. The main battle would be for second and third as Rusty Alverson battled the 25 of Kyle Moore. It was a back and forth battle, but at the end of the day, it would be Heath Williams in the 82 taking the checkered flag, with Rusty Alverson finishing in second and Kyle Moore finishing in third. The late model sportsman race proved to be a race filled with drama. We added the first caution with Dave Mader and Roger Roos got together, and Dave Mader spun out. On the restart, these two battled side by side yet again, but then they made contact once again. Dave Mader and Roger Roos get together. Roger Roos hits the wall protection, and Roger Roos is out of the race, and Dave Mader was parked for the rest of the race. When we went back green flag racing, Dennis Reno Jr. was in the lead in the number 7. Eventually, Dennis Reno was so far out in front, at one point he was driving the car with one hand on the wheel. And at the end of the day, Dennis Reno would take the checkered flag with Travis Klecker finishing in second and John T. Adams in third. The Fourstar Freightliner 100 proved to be a race filled with ups and downs the whole day. Off the start, Augie Grill led off the field. As Christopher Tutlis was making a move on Perry Bettino, the number 18 of Casey Roderick made a move on Bobby Knox Jr. for the second place spot. Casey Roderick was then had his eyes set on Augie Grill. One person who was moving up through the field was the 114 of Michael House after starting from the rear of the field, and he was working his way up to the top 10. Then we had the first caution come out for debris on the track. When we went back green flag racing, Augie Grill was in firm control of the lead, with Casey Roderick running in the second place spot and Bobby Knox Jr. running in third. Then as we continued on with racing, Michael House and the 114 continued to move up through the field. Then we had the next caution come out when the number 2 of Austin Woods spun out. When we went back green flag racing, Augie Grill and Casey Roderick led off the field once again. Then the 114 of Michael House moved up into third, as he had his eyes set on the top 2. Then the next caution came out when Bill Bethay hit the wall protection. Going back green flag racing, Augie Grill and Casey Roderick led off the field once again, and out of nowhere comes the 0-1 of Derek Scott Jr. as he bumps the number 4 of Case and Plata back a few spots. Then we had another caution come out. When we went back green flag racing, Augie Grill and Casey Roderick led off the field once again. Augie Grill continued to have firm control over his lead. Then the number 114 of Michael House was able to get his spot back from Derek Scott Jr. As Derek Scott Jr. and the number 22 of Jordan McCallum was battling for a position, something happened to the 114 of Michael House, and now they were battling for a podium finish. Side by side, Jordan McCallum and Derek Scott Jr. battled it out with the number 7 of Cole Daffrin right behind them. Then Jordan got loose, and that allowed the 01 of Derek Scott Jr. to take the third place spot. Then we have the next caution come out when the 24 of Christopher Tullis and the number 7 of Taylor Strickland got together. When we went back green flag racing, it was Casey Roderick and Augie Grill leading off the field once again. They battled side by side. Casey Roderick was giving it all he got, but Augie Grill would eventually get the lead back. As they continued on through the race, we would have ourselves another caution when around went Taylor Strickland again, and riding on board with the 24 of Christopher Tullis, he had nowhere to go but straight into it. Tough break for the 24 of Christopher Tullis. When we went back green flag racing, Augie Grill and Casey Roderick were the top two out in front. Then something happened to Casey Roderick in the 18, and the number 7 of Cole Daffrin passed him for the second place spot. Then we had a final battle for the third place spot between Jordan McCallum and Derek Scott Jr. Jordan McCallum would eventually get the third place spot, and Augie Grill would go on to take the checkered flag with Cole Daffrin second and Jordan McCallum third. An unbelievable race.
Augie, man, I gotta tell you, I have never seen a more dominating car at Montgomery Motorspeedway in a while. You started first and you led the entire race. Tell me about this.
I think it was just real good. I hated all those late restarts because Casey's a good racer and he gave me a run for my money. But car was really good, stayed with me the whole race, rotated good the whole race, and hopefully we put on a decent show for you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, my dad, Robbie White Race Engines, and Hedman Hustler Headers.
Cole, tell me your thoughts on this race because there was some dramatic racing throughout the whole night, the whole day. I mean.
Oh yeah, this new setup I think is working out pretty good for us. We fell back right there at the beginning of the race, about 12th or 13th right there, and then after this rain, it helped our car out a lot. Able to make it back up to second.
Anybody you'd like to thank?
Oh, my dad, mom, my spotter, Scott, Brett Holmes Racing, that whole team for the setup and the shocks and all that. And I'd like to thank the good Lord upstairs.
Tell me about those last few laps because something happened to Casey Roderick's car, and then you were in a very intense battle for third. Tell me about that.
Yeah, me and Scott, we raced hard right there, and we raced each other clean. We had a good race right there, and I came out on top. And
is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Wayne and Josh, they've always got a great race car for me every weekend, and they just do an outstanding job.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you all had a great weekend here at Montgomery Motorspeedway. There were ups and downs, full of drama, and we are glad that you could all be with us here this weekend. But now this weekend has come to an end, and you have 2 weeks to settle down and get ready for our Sportsman Spectacular on July the 30th, 75 laps, $5 admission. We'll see you then. Have a nice day, everyone.